All right, everyone. Haven't been doing as many live baseball feeds, but for the time being, I don't need to because the Red Sox are going to the World Series, so their next game isn't until Wednesday. But wow, I still can't believe I'm saying that. The Red Sox are going to the World Series. Last time this happened, obviously, 2007. Also, way back in 2004 when I was like 15. So it's been a while. Not that long, obviously. Some teams wait years, but from what little I showed of the postseason coverage in the ALCS, I'm still wondering how the Red Sox even got to this point. Not necessarily their season. I've kind of gotten over the fact that the 69-win team has found its way to the World Series, but just looking at the Detroit Tigers, I mean, the Red Sox batted about 202 in that series. It's one of the lowest marks for a team to win a postseason series. Their pitching was good, but I didn't consider it dominant, at least the starting pitching. Red Sox bullpen was kind of the key to keeping the Tigers down. Junichi Tozawa held Miguel Cabrera very, hitless pretty much. He only faced him a few times, but got him to ground into a double play, got him to strike out. And really, every game the Red Sox won, other than the 1-0 win against Verlander, I just feel like they did not. I mean, obviously, you don't have to dominate. Obviously, the Red Sox won 4 games out of 6, so the results speak for themselves. But if you look at those games, as I'm sure a lot of Red Sox fans did, almost everybody on the team batted 0.95. I mean, Ortiz had only 2 hits. Victorino just had the grand slam and another couple hits. Napoli kind of kept them in there when they went to Detroit. There was a big possibility that they could lose 2 out of 3, all 3 games in Detroit, but instead they grinded out their at-bats. They finally figured out Anibal Sanchez in Game 5, although they still only got a few runs. They got a gift run in the form of a wild pitch. But what I'm saying here isn't to diminish the Red Sox. Actually, it's to just congratulate them on their success, really all season long. The Red Sox, from the beginning, were just kind of, determined to put on a winning show for their fans from day one. I mean, obviously, after last year, you can imagine there being some shame in the Red Sox clubhouse, but veterans like Ortiz and Pedroia, they weren't going to let that happen again. And people like Gomes and Dempster and other players they added from other teams were just kind of on board for a winning season. And they mentioned, they wanted to win the World Series. They wanted to go this far. Well, who doesn't? But they've really kept their promise. I mean, it's one thing just to say it. It's one thing to have a can-do attitude and put in the work and to really try your best. But the Red Sox have done that and then some, and that's why they're in the World Series. So, again, just shocking. You'd think with a series like that, most teams would have given up, after putting up no offense in Game 1, after being down 5-0 in Game 2, and it looks like you're going to Detroit down 2-0. And at this point, even if they had, I'm kind of convinced that this Red Sox team would have found a way to win this series even if they were down 2-0, but didn't have to come to that. The Red Sox faced Verlander in Game 3 and still beat him. They grinded out a win, 1-0, so now they're up 2-1 in that series. The Tigers come back, and their bats finally show up. They win Game 4, 7-3. So, 2-2, and you don't know which Red Sox team you're going to get, the one that fails to put up runs or the one that comes through dramatically. Well, you kind of get both. You get the Red Sox in Game 5 putting up a few runs, then the Tigers making a comeback. It ends up being 4-3. The Red Sox hold on to win it, and now you're going back to Fenway. Again, not sure what you're going to get. Red Sox up 3-2. You don't know if the bats will come alive enough to get them that 4th win. And as it turns out, you're losing the game 2-1 in the 7th inning. It looks like, you got a chance to face Verlander in Game 7 with a team that's already struggling offensively, so not a good combination. And, well, you know the rest. Talk about unlikely. Shane Victorino hits a grand slam. And, this team has been doing it all year, but just to do it in such an unlikely fashion, when you're down by 1 run, you expect them to bunt. You expect them to steal a base. You expect them to maybe get lucky with a couple of things going in their favor, which happened as well. But then to get 4 runs in that inning is just, you don't expect that. You expect to maybe get 1 or 2 runs. So, for this World Series, what can I say? And the Cardinals, that's nothing to take away from them. They have a lot of great pitching, young players. I'm not even familiar with their team. That's how many young players they have, and I'm usually pretty good on rosters. I even know the Pirates roster better, and the Pirates weren't expected to do anything this season, even though they went to the playoffs. So you have a couple of teams. The Red Sox definitely weren't expected to get here. The Cardinals, they're usually in it. They're usually in the conversation for a World Series appearance, but they're back for the 5th time in 10 years, something ridiculous like that. So the Cardinals will be going for their 12th world title. The Red Sox will be going for their 8th and their 3rd in my lifetime, and it's just incredible. Obviously, I'm a Red Sox fan. I watched this team all year. I had the pleasure of going to Fenway earlier this year for the video that is Fenway Frenzy. The Red Sox were down 7-2. Actually, it might have been 7-0. It was they had a really big deficit against the Seattle Mariners, and they came back in the ninth inning, got 5 runs to win that game, and the energy was just off the charts. And that was a regular season game. The Red Sox have made a couple of great comebacks in their ALCS, and so this World Series, I'm picking the Red Sox, not just because I'm a fan, but because of what I just saw. If the Red Sox can bat 202 and beat a very good great Detroit starting rotation, first of all. I mean, their bats were considered their strength, but from what I saw, Verlander, Scherzer, and Sanchez, they all pitched amazingly. They pitched better than the Red Sox starters. I know the Red Sox starters didn't get shelled, other than Peavy, but the Detroit starters just looked so much better. And I know the Cardinals have good starting, too. They have good starting pitching. They've got similar to what the Red Sox have. If anything, I think they will be tougher than Detroit. That's why I think it could go 7. However, I do take the Red Sox in 6. I wouldn't be surprised if it goes 7. I don't see either team getting swept. I think that both teams are resilient enough where if they lose a game or two, they're going to keep in it. You know, the Cardinals have their own ways of winning games. They have Carlos Beltran, they have hitters, they have pitchers, they've got youth. And this youth doesn't seem to be fazed by the big moment. So the Red Sox have their task cut out for them. But if there's one thing I've learned from this season, it's not to count them out, even when it looks like they are out. So let's go Sox. October baseball, obviously the most exciting part of the year. God, I'm so excited I can't even talk right. And Boston fans had the pleasure of being there at the very last series. We're going to try and win it. Hopefully it goes better than the Bruins in the Stanley Cup, but let's go Sox. Take out the cards again.